Well, hello there, you tuberubers and tuberettes alike. It's a short talk at the trailer, uh, and you could probably guess with whom. That would be that old guy. Come on in, sit down, have a beer if you'd like. It's still kind of early in the morning where I'm at, so I'm not gonna have any beers. Might have one later today. I don't know. Went out yesterday. That was a Saturday, and ended up watching most of an MLB game down at one of the pubs around the corner, and had two beers. It was an okay game. Anyway, the thing is that I just kind of wanted to bang my gums some. The funny thing is that living alone all these years, I don't have a wife, I don't have kids, and frankly, when I was younger, I didn't want either one, and I figured I'd be a terrible husband and a terrible father. I mean, I didn't know, but I assumed the worst, naturally. So my attitude has always been assume the worst case scenario, and then when that does not happen, consider it progress. I remember years ago, I used to teach a Sunday school class for adults occasionally, but they don't want to do me that. They don't want me to do that anymore. I guess I'm a heretic. But the thing is that someone would ask later on, how to go down there, for Sunday school. I said, well, it's pretty good. No knife fights broke out. But well, it isn't that rowdy at all. But the thing is I just kind of wanted to chit chat some with you. I woke up this morning feeling all kind of, I don't know, kind of crowded like, and I just had this real strong thing hanging over my head about church. So I am going to go to church, but today it'll be a little different. I'm going to go up to First Baptist instead, and it's a great big old church, and they run their services in like shifts or whatever. So I'm going to go to the contemporary one, which is, in my mind, it's like maybe a little too contemporary. Do we really need disco lights? Well, maybe it isn't quite like that. But anyhow, yeah, there was something just kind of warning me off, and I suddenly thought, I'm going to go get me some breakfast, and I sat down afterwards at the park, and I tried to make a video down there, but I just didn't like the result. It seemed like, well, that's not what I intended to say at all. Why am I talking about that? So I scratched that one. The thing is that I just want to kind of talk this over with you because I really don't have anyone else to talk to, and you just tell me, is this all in Mike Labor's head? Or is there something to it that maybe we are picking up? When you talk about vibes and feelings and kind of this nebulous stuff, I do get involved in it, but I don't really trust it, and I try not to rely upon it. But still, there's something is stirring in me deep, and it feels like subterranean. So there's some tremendous changes coming, and so I sat down and prayed about it. So what's this about, Lord? What am I bothered by? What am I afraid of? What's happening that's so terrifying? I don't see anything unusual, and just the usual stupidity. But so I got to thinking about it, and it seems to me that perhaps we are as humans. I've looked at some of this stuff, speculation about whether time is actually speeding up as we approach the end. And there's all this end of the world fiasco kind of talk. It was that stupid rock floating by out there, which suddenly developed thrust and all that. Give me a break. And the Amu, remember that one? It's just a stupid rock floating by. But anyway, the give me a break. But the thing is that and this thing that recently went by last week, and shame on you if you bought into that crapzilla theory that there's some kind of secret rapture last week that you apparently missed. Give me a break with that secret rapture stuff too. And so there's all this speculation about the end of the age. Then we don't want to forget about AI taking over the universe, or apparently the economy. There's talk about basically every job now may be endangered once this AI thing goes online. Now, I don't know exactly how an AI plumber would work without having an AI robot handy to do the work. But never mind that. Any kind of paperwork job or office job, it's essentially you're living on borrowed time. If that's your job and that's what you're going to count on, we're looking at some humongous changes coming, and it's going to shake this society to the roots. And I don't know how many people are actually aware of it, but I think a lot of people are aware that something's changing dramatically, and it's like a cultural shift. It's like a zeitgeist. Ooh, big word. It's like there's something basic changing. And so, in terms of going to church, which is what I intend on doing, the thing that strikes me here is that perhaps, and again, I'm speculating, okay, perhaps that part of this sensation in me and maybe in you, I don't know, that things are just happening too quickly. There's too much noise. There's too much yelling going on. Um, what's actually happening? And I believe that people around the world may be, at least in some sense, aware that the Almighty is going to return to this world. And they know instinctively, they know against anything that comes out of their mouth, he will judge. And he will judge justly. And I think that people have an inkling, at least, that, well, maybe I'm not entirely perfect. Well, that's so far off the beam as to be absurd. There's nothing about me that's in whack. The whole world's out of whack, but there's nothing in me that's in whack. The whole thing is grace, mercy, and forgiveness. If he does not cleanse my record, if he does not personally vouch for me, then I have no plan B. It's either about Jesus and his salvation, or I'm done. And I think the folks who realize that they're done because they really care nothing about Jesus, I think this is getting a kind of a hurry up mode. Hurry, 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 hurry. Why does everything have to be hurried? Why is our whole world hurrying up toward the future? Why, there's tens of billions of dollars being poured into this AI research, as an example. One, quantum AI. Two, would be a result coming out of that, which is just downright scary. But the thing is that I'm just sitting there thinking today that the church needs to be the one to remind us that the Lord, he created, the Lord, he came and visited his own world. The local residents murdered him and threw the body over the wall, as Jesus taught. But then later he woke up, and his people swore to the death that he was the same man who died, except this time he was all perfect. He could walk through walls and stuff. Don't ask me how you do that. But the point is that that same one is returning, but this time dressed as the warrior king, dressed as the judge of the living and the dead. And so there's a terrifying aspect to him. He is a terrible God in terms of terror, I mean. He is the original holy terror. And yet the church simply will not say that. The church will not allude to it. And so all this hurry, scurry, blah, 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 try to make everything go to work faster, faster, faster. It just falls right in step with it. And so I think the church, as an example with this damn rapture business lately, the church was really out to lunch. There should have been public statements by church leaders coming forward saying, don't buy this. Don't believe it for a minute that you're going to have some goon pretending to predict something of this magnitude with a date attached. Shut up. So the church is asleep at the switch, and the main thing is that as her master returns, remember there was a story of the virgins. Some had oil, some didn't. Anyway, the bridegroom tarried, as it were, and the girls got sleepy, zonked out. Well, about the middle of the night, here he comes. Here comes the guy. So the thing is that there's a sleepiness that's coming over the church that if she will not wake up, then there'll come a time where she cannot wake up. And I don't want that. But there's just something that was creeping me out big time about the church I go to today. So I thought I just need a break. I need to get some distance, cool off, and maybe, return next week with a better attitude. I don't know. But anyway, I just kind of wanted to ask you, are you sensing out there in your world where you are? You may be overseas from where I am. You may be old, young, male, female. I don't know. But are you feeling it? That it seems like the world's, somebody hit the crazy button. And they won't take the damn finger off it. So you be the sane one. You remember that those who participate with Christ are raised up with him as they die, as they physically pass. They are our beloved are with him now. But they are not trying to conform to some standard. They're not trying to straighten up and fly right and hope they get it right. No, they have a new nature in them. It's a new nature built upon righteousness, built upon the model Jesus Christ himself. And so the only man who is good enough to stand in that judgment, he already stood. And he stood for you and he stood for me. And he took the blow, which we deserve. Now, the church has got that part right. But for those who refuse to buy that, there are terrible, dreadful consequences. You do not want to be the one to hear, "Depart from me, I never knew you." Don't go there. Fear God and give him the glory. The end is near, and he is nearer. He's with us, he's in us, he's around us, he's running ahead of us. And the path we're on right now is the one he called out from before the beginning of things. He knows what he's doing. Lean into it. God bless and have a good day.